Hi students, Brian here with Mr. Micah, and we're going to go over our yellow and orange belt grappling requirements for this cycle, okay? So this is block 1, and curriculum's divided up into 6 segments, right? By the time you go all the way through, you've done that multiple times as you go through the colored ranks, and then you know that expert level, it just kind of continues to build, but you know all 6 of the blocks, so you kind of just build and add on to that. So what we're going to start off with is the single leg takedown. So we're going to see some cool variations of the single and also some ways to defend against the single, different finishing options, okay? And first I want to show a couple of drills, right? So if you're a yellow orange belt, I just want you to know this is how I get the single. It's, you know, this is what the single leg looks like. We're not as concerned about what your entry is about, okay? Like, you know, did you have the, you know, did you pull down? Did you push his hand up? We're going to show some of that as we go through the program. And the higher you go in rank, the more we expect that. But we're just going to stay really basic for this video. I'm going to show a couple of drills. So, Mr. Micah, I want you to stand kind of like this. This is like our wrestling stance, right? You're just relaxed. You can move around. Your torso's relaxed. Your hands are going to be up for me. Okay. So from here, I'm going to get in where I can just touch his hands. I'm going to circle around, and then I can put my knee behind his knee. I'm wrapping my hand around his calf, okay? So this way a little bit, like this, right? So I'm circling here. I'm trying not to bring my feet too close together in the middle, here, okay? So that's a little drill. Then we can do this, okay? We'll call this knee tag, right? So if I'm going around here and he steps back, I'm trying to tag his other knee. So it's a little game we can play, right? So I'm gonna circle and try and tag your knee, and you know, you circle away. Right. Let's see if you can do it for me. Kind of, if we were doing high crotches, that would have been good. All right, but that's a knee tag. That's the same thing as if he's circling on me. So I'm gonna be right here. You circle in, step behind. Boom, go the other side, keep it going. Boom, other side. As soon as you fit it in, go back to the other side. Okay, nice. So that's a drill that can help us remember how the single leg fits in, okay? Now, if he has a leg forward, and it doesn't matter what leg, okay? If you're thinking about maybe putting that one forward first, go ahead and do that. This leg's forward, okay, that's the one I'm gonna single leg. That's how I know, okay? Now, people make the mistake a lot of grabbing with their front hand, okay? If he grabs with his front hand, I can just bump it up, okay? And when I bump it up, I'm gonna step in for my single, okay? So we have to off balance someone for a single. There's 2 ways we do that. They're both the same thing, pushing into the person. When we do a drop step, it's to off balance and push into them, okay? So he has that foot forward. I'm looking for that for the single. I'm gonna step in, and then here's my drop step version. Look how it's his weight. He's getting light on this leg, so I stand up with the single. Is that leg forward again? I circle in, I bump up. This time I'm just gonna push him with my shoulder here. I'm driving, and here. So guys, we don't wanna get there and pause. I'm emphasizing the drive point, but watch here. He reaches, boom. We gotta go, right? It's a sequence. It's not stops along the way. It's one move, okay? So if I'm circling in here, I bump up, here's the pickup. Okay, so that's the knee press single leg. Let's go over some details on this, okay? Go ahead and do this. Couple of things. He may be wanting to turn that way. We can't let this happen. I've got to grab his heel and pull it into my hip. I'm pulling it back around this way, okay? Then 2, look where I'm standing. I'm standing right where he needs to fall, okay? So I'm gonna do a little round step inside here, and then that'll allow him to fall right there, right? Now, I don't want to use my elbow or anything. I'm using my forearm. So I step, push him down with my forearm, okay? So he puts a foot forward. I come in, I bump up, I drop step, I pick up the single leg, I pull it out. And here we are. I'm gonna step in, side control. Now, after we do the side control, he's gonna do his guard recovery. Yes, good hip escape. Nice. Okay, so that's your sequence. Let's show it one more time. Nice. Okay, so single leg takedown, knee press with the guard recovery. As you go through, intermediates, if you're watching this video, green belts and above, we will highlight some different ways, not just bumping the hand up. And if you're at testing, the only thing I want to know from you is that you can fit in the single leg, like we did with the drill. If you bump the hand up at the total beginner level, bonus points. Now, if you've been doing this a couple years and you're green, blue, purple belt, we expect you to bump the hand up. We expect you to do some of the entries that we're going to show for our other single legs, okay? So, single leg knee press, side control, guard recovery. That's the sequence.
Stuck with me. That'd be the best of it.
Stuck with me too, dude, and that's part of my job is just to pass the message along. Let's start on the ground. Okay, so we're going to be going over our yellow and orange belt position, submission, and defense requirements, right? So we're going to be looking at all of that. A way to get out of mount, way to get out of some submissions from side mount and mount, and then some submissions from side mount and mount, all right? Now, we're always working on arm bars, right? So we're going to see an arm bar from mount, right? One of our top moves as a team when we go compete is the Americana. Okay, so this is an exciting time because just this Americana for the yellow-orange belts, when we have anybody that goes and competes in their submissions, so like, you know, even 7, 8 years old, they get Americanas, right? So this is a really good technique to focus on. So we'll see Americana from side control. We'll see arm bar from mount, right? And then we'll see some defenses to the mount and some defenses to the Americana. And that'll just carry on. So if you're intermediates watching this, right, you're gonna have more things you're working on defending as we go through the techniques for your belt level. All right, so let's start with side control. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the head arm side mount, okay? So if Mike is trying to do a big bridge into me, I don't have to have my chest down. But if he is doing a big bridge into me, or if he isn't rather, right? I wanna have that chest down, okay? So look here, I could do a big bridge into me. Yeah, look, you just were able to push me off, okay? So sometimes our problem when I show head arm side mount is we don't wanna have our chest down, okay? And it's not that we always have our chest down. Sometimes we have it down, and if he tries to do a big bridge, I might raise it up a little bit, right? Try to do your big bridge. Oh, you didn't make all that space, okay? So I'm just talking to you beginners because a lot of times you'll do this and then your chest is up. It's not always bad, but let's start with it down, okay? Because with it down, I can always raise it if he tries to escape, okay? So here's what we're gonna do. I have head, arm, side mount. I want you to have your grip. A lot of times we forget about the grip when we're just here. Let's get our grip. And I want a little bit of my shoulder on his jaw, okay? And see how he's got his cross face on my neck, right? Push that, Micah, and let's see, it's making my voice get all weird. It's not fun, okay? And he's gonna be doing that because imagine we're rolling or competing at the tournament, okay? So when he does this, I'm gonna sit sideways into Kessa position. I have the underhook, and then I come and I attack that arm that he was pushing across my neck. I'm gonna push it down here, okay? Now, just turn sideways. I want to be right in the center of his chest, and for my finish, I'm going to look up. So that makes my back arch right here, okay? And then I'm gonna throttle my motorcycle grips, and that's my tap. Okay, let's turn this way. So look at the leverage on the lock. Okay, so here, I'm looking up, that makes my pin heavy, and there's just barely any movement in your tap. Isn't that crazy? Whoa. Okay, now let's turn this way. So here, look, I'm gonna sit through the Kessa. I pull this off my neck because it was making me talk funny. And I come back to the side control. And this leg that would be by his hip, I have it back, and that's fine. If you want to have it up, that sometimes makes my weight too light. So I like to put it back and look up, and that makes it where he can't get his guard back. Okay? And then there is my Americana. Okay? So, how do we defend this Americana? Let's go over that real quick. Okay? Put me in side control, please, sir. Okay, so see, I got the cross face and my candy cane, we call this a lot of times, right? It's my hook here, and it's monitoring his hips if he tries to go to north-south or something crazy. And this is like, hey, get off me. I'm gonna make you talk funny and punch you in the neck with my forearm, but don't punch your buddy in class, please. Okay, so have your good head arm side mount, Mr. Micah. Go ahead and get your hands together. Start with your grip, please. Yes, yeah. I gotta make see, now you're making me talk funny now. I like that. Okay, now switch to Kessa. Good. And I'm doing this. Yeah, so you just let go of that. And then as you get your grip, go back to side control. Yes. Good. And remember we could have this leg sprawl back if we want to be a little heavier. Good. And then two. Like that. That's good. Look up. Oh yes. Good. Okay. And then give me the tap real quick. Nice. Okay. Go ahead and go back. Just back up a step. Right, so yes, okay, so when he's here, guys, right, he's kind of went for it, but he hasn't gone back to side control, okay? Anytime somebody you feel like, oh man, I'm about to get put in an Americana, don't think that, grab your hands together, okay? Try and go ahead and get your finish, Mr. Micah. So what I've got to do is pull this back over and use that to hip escape, right? And when I finish, let's have their posture pulled down. Okay, because one of our beginner moves is sit up sweep. And anytime somebody tries to sit up in our guard, because I've got them pulled down, you can do that simple white belt technique, the sit up sweep. Okay, so as he goes for the Americana, I've got to get my hands together. Here, boom. Okay, if he keeps this arm on this side of my body, it's going to be bad. So I've got to grab it, and I've got to base, pull it back over, and recover my guard. I put my knee in between, and then I start getting my head away, and I'm turning my hips. If you get this foot stuck, it's going to happen a lot. Put your foot on the back, and shrimp out. And it comes out real easy, okay? And have his head down, and be ready for when he does that, because that's a free sweep for you, okay? So those are our main concepts for side mount, right? And so there are four main positions other than, if I'm talking about guard, that's a whole other thing. But there's side control, knee on belly, mount, and the back, right? So we're seeing side mount and mount today, right? They're both really important pins, and we want everybody to learn the basics. These are the fundamentals, okay? So Americana and a basic defense from side control. Attack one. We want you to have another attack. A lot of times when this Americana, if it doesn't work for some reason, I'll let go of it and I'll go over to mount, right? And we'll see this kind of string together for some of the higher ranks where you do a drill off of this. But for this segment, what I want to do is we're just going to start in mount, okay? So on your back with your head facing the camera, Mr. Micah. All right. Okay, so the mounted armbar. Very important technique, a fundamental, truly. And here's how I'm gonna set it up. Sometimes when you wanna bridge and roll, you try and make people put their hands on the mat. We're gonna talk about when that's hard to do, exactly what to deal with. But, we kind of know like, oh, I don't wanna put my hands on the mat, right? Because he might trap a hand. But I'm gonna trick him, right? He might also trap a hand if my hand is here. Okay, so just so you know, right, that's good. I'm feeling like you might escape now, okay? So, Mr. Micah, go ahead and start trying to bridge and roll there. And look how I transitioned to this technical mount. See how I got my toe in the mat behind me? That's a really good thing to focus on. And I want this knee straight up here on this side. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna tilt. And that makes this leg light so I can step over. And what we always wanna do is we wanna have this leg over his head before I fall back. Here. There's my finish. Okay. So I'm just gonna practice going to technical mount a few times. Mr. Micah, go ahead and bridge. Then go back. Go ahead and bridge. Good. Go back. Okay, so guys, when we get this technical mount, we need to have a leg behind the head. Okay? And then when I get ready to start doing the arm bar, okay, I want to put a hand in front of the head so he can't get his back on the floor, because he can maybe go forward and put his back on the floor. Go forward and do that. Yeah, yes, very good. And you almost tipped me over. So I want to do this. Can you do that again? Yes, now better for me, huh? Okay, so then I need to do the lean. This toe in the back gives me balance and control. Okay, so I lean my head over, and that allows me to be able to do that step. And look, now I feel pretty good about falling back here. Always go all the way to the end of the lever. That's this little thumb right here. We pull it in here. Our legs come in, and that's our tap. Okay? So that's the mounted arm bar. Let's do one more. And we want to try and do this all in one sequence. So we kind of give him his bridge and roll. He's like, man, I wish I could get out of this mount. It's terrible, right? And there's 3 main ways to get out of mount. Hip escape, knee elbow, which is kind of like a hip escape, just so you know, in the bridge and roll. Okay, so here, I'm giving him his bridge and roll. This is what he wants, but it's what I want. This is my setup for my arm bar. Okay, go ahead and try and bridge, Mr. Micah. Okay, guys, when we're trying to finish arm bars, we want to, when we grab that thumb, I'm pulling it like this, as far away from the body as I can, right? I don't just want it straight. Like what I want to happen is I want it to be like, look, there's my arm straight. I gotta extend it way out, right? We call that taking the slack out, right? Our joints have this slack in them, right? When you're trying to do an arm bar, you got your wrist joint, elbow, your shoulder. So I gotta really pull. When I grab that thumb, pull it a little bit, right? And that'll really help you finish your arm bar. You gotta take that slack out, right? If you don't have it out and the arm's bent, you've gotta be patient and wait for it to come together, okay? Try and pull it up and out, straighten it. Okay, now, the hip escape. I mentioned this a second ago. You'll be trying to bridge to get somebody's hands on the mat, or to UPA and bridge and roll them over, or maybe you're just trying to do a knee elbow escape. I like to have somebody's hands on the mat to knee elbow because their legs are a little lighter, okay? So let's look at this real quick. Mr. Micah, put me in now. And you're gonna be upright, okay? So you have posture here, okay? So when I go to bridge and you lean back to stop that, you can, that's the counter, right? So I'm gonna try and bridge. First, don't do anything, right? I'm gonna bridge and see if I can get you to put your hands up on the floor. Boom, that, yes. Okay, and then I'm gonna do that one more time. There, see, stop, he's leaning back. So guess what? He's telling me what way to go, right? So I try and bridge, it's not working. We do not get going this way. We notice it's not working because I just went a little bit and I noticed. I put my hands here in the center, I push into the back corner. What's gonna happen is with this class, in the yellow orange belts, is you're gonna accidentally fall over all the time. It actually will happen at every rank, because if this person on bottom understands it and does a good job, they're gonna knock you over, okay? And you're making a mistake by leaning back, right? So I'm gonna dig my feet into the floor here. Let's turn a little bit. I'm gonna dig my feet into the floor here, and then I hip escape away. Turn. So I pushed him and got him to put his hand on the floor. If he has his hand on the floor with weight, boom, that's my hip escape. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go top knee in, bottom, guard. Okay, let's see that again. So let me bridge and get you to put your hands on the mat. Okay, so here, boom. All right, I'm going to be doing that, yeah. Good job, Brian. That's a good one. Okay, and then I'm like, okay, yes, I know how it works. I got it. I'm rolling with Mr. Micah. I'm going to try it. Didn't work. So go to try it. You notice it's not working. If you can't get him to put his hands on the mat here, he's probably gonna have to put his hand on the mat back here. That's where he's weak, okay? Now, I got everything I need. My feet are a part of the floor, and now I'm gonna hip away, okay? This hand, it's just to protect. We can put both hands here, but this hand's a really good protection hand, okay? It can block if he's trying to slap or anything, right? Here. Now, I wanna go top leg in first. Good, come, and then bottom, right? It's at this point when you're rolling or drilling that he'll start trying to be like, oh no, I'm gonna put you, and that's when I wanna recover my guard. Okay? So, guys, anytime you have someone in mount and that you notice they're leaning back, that's they're telling you which way they're going. Well, hip escape, that makes them go backwards, right? And then I'm gonna move back when I hip escape. They're leaning back, I'm gonna push them back, and then I'm gonna go back. It's simple, right? So, guys, if you try to bridge, just remember this, it's such a beginner lesson, right? It's the number one thing, even drilling. We'll be doing bridge and rolls, and I see you guys leaning back. I'm not gonna let you make me put my hands on the mat, right? So, that's fine. If you lean back, you get the hip escape put on you, right? We also see this in MMA, more advanced strengths. When somebody goes to throw a punch in mount, right? Mr. Micah's head was right here, I'd be like, and then he knows I'm leaning back, he can push me back. Remember, beginners, even intermediates and advanced, they're gonna make you put your hand on the mat. If they don't, you just fall down. And then that means the person on bottom, they understand. Or the person on top was just totally not ready, no base. All right, so that's the lesson for that. So let's review. We got 2 submissions, Americana from side control, armbar from mount. We have 2 defenses. One's a submission defense, right? We use the defense to escape the Americana, and then we recover our guard, like we saw with the single leg. Somebody does a single leg on you, recover guard. Someone tries to put you inside mount Americana, recover guard. Someone tries to put you in mount, hip escape, recover guard, okay? We'll focus on an armbar escape later with the other ranks. And the armbar was that other submission we saw. So we want to make them think, remember, we're giving them an escape, but it's a trick, right? We're being sneaky. We're like, hey, you want to bridge and roll me? You want to? And then they go for it. And it's a mounted armbar, right? Mounted armbars are for everyone, guys. And we'll see a defense when we get into our green, blue, and purple belt stuff. But focus on these techniques. If you have any questions, get with an instructor, and we'd be happy to work with you one-on-one and answer any questions you have about any of the techniques that we cover, not just today, but in any of the blogs. All right, thanks, guys. We're gonna go over our flow drill for our beginners. So what is so cool about this block we're on right now is that if you're a beginner, you already know the bridge and roll escape, right? We teach everybody that when they first start out, okay? But now you're gonna learn all the escapes to mount, right? So the hip escape, that's the new one we just learned. And then the next one you'll learn is the knee elbow escape. Okay, so intermediates, you might be doing this, talking about this. You need to be able to do flow drills with all 3 of the big mount escapes. Okay, so that's our bridge and roll. We also call it the UPA. That's the Brazilians. That's the Portuguese name, right? It means to bridge or buck. So the UPA escape, that's what they call it in Brazil, right? We call it bridge and roll all the time here. Right? And then we got the hip escape where we move back. That's what we're doing right now, and the knee elbow escape. Okay, so if you're intermediate advanced rank, you're gonna be doing all of that, okay? what Mr. Mike and I are gonna do today is we're gonna take some of these beginner escapes, a beginner sweep, beginner positions, we're gonna tie them all together, and we're gonna make a flow drill out of them, okay? So put me in mount here, Mr. Micah. So let's remember when we do the hip escape. It's when he leans back. So if I try and bridge and he leans back, hip escape. It was starting to get hard, so I was like, no, okay, I can't keep going that way. He's already stopping me. So I push in the direction he's going. Remember, he may fall down here. If he does, he's like, hey, Brian said not to fall down, but I did a good job. All right, get back up, please. All right, and just start over. So, but here, I've got him where I need him to be. He's off of me, but I've not completed the move yet. I've got to hip escape away. So I pushed him back, and then I went back. Top leg in first, bottom leg, and that's my guard, okay? So watch here. I've got his posture down. He's gonna sit up. He tries to sit up, I follow him up. And I step over, that's my sit-up sweep. And then look, I'm coming up. Mr. Micah knows I'm coming up. He notices it, so he just pushes me back. I'm already going back. Yes, good, and now you go back. All right, hey, I got a little bit more top leg in first, good. And then get your guard, nice. Boom, okay, so you got my posture down. I'm gonna get up, here, sit up sweep, good. Boom. I noticed you were going that way, so I just decided to keep you going that way. Now I need to go back, okay? Back, top leg, bottom leg, guard. He does the posture, here, that's my sweep, okay? I'm posturing up, he pushes me back. Boom. He kips out, with the guard, boom. And that's the flow drill, guys. Okay.